Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you dig it? How are we all doing? Like the thousands out there. It's Wednesday. How has that happened? How on earth has that happened already? I know how it's happened really. I've slept loads, which is unlike me, but yeah, I have. That's what makes things go quickly. Loud and clear. Steve, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you, etc. Mandy, how's things? You okay? Well, aren't things a bit weird? I went for a walk, didn't I? What day's it? Wednesday, yeah. Monday, Tuesday I went out. It's Sunday as well. Nice walks around the local area. Lovely temperature. Took me nice little videos, bird song, beautiful. And then tonight it's getting a bit colder, pissing down with rain, and everything looks miserable. So it looks as though the Indian summer has well and truly gone. We are back to just being an average UK autumn, I guess, and a pretty average northwest autumn, where it's like this all the time. You have that drizzle, the Peter Kay stuff, you know, the fine rain that soaks you through, the dreich, I think the Scots call it, don't they? Dreich, the kind of rain that's really wet. Goedenavond, Hadewig. Hoe gaat het? Ben je goed? Yeah. So even this morning when I went to pick my daughter up for college, it was the same kind of thing. It was miserable. Which is, I put my little picture on Instagram today about how miserable it was, because it really was one of those mornings where if I didn't have to get up out of bed, I wouldn't have done. I would have stayed where I was in the nice warm. And no, instead I had to be out in the car. Bloody miserable. Casper, how you doing, mate? It's Ruby's first birthday. Happy birthday, Ruby. Time flies, eh? Before you know where you are, it'll be 21. Key to the kennel, the law. These things fly by. What the bleeding hell's going on here? See, I've mentioned dam busters a couple of times, haven't I? And since I've mentioned that, there's been all kinds of mad planes and helicopters going over. As though we're in training for World War III, which I suppose might not be too far wide of the mark, might it, at the moment, the way things are going. I think I'm with Al Murray on that one. To everyone in the Middle East, just, wind your necks in. Good question, where is Bot? He is linked. He is definitely linked in. Saf, how's things, mate? Saffield Wednesday. Happy days. Welcome. Yeah, come on. Where are you? Bot. Bot has not joined the chat correctly. He's normally quite good about that as well, isn't he? Botrix or Jeff or whoever he is this week. So you staffer, you slag. There you go. Speak and he will arrive. Yeah, Botrix has correctly joined the channel. I like the fact that it's correctly. It's as though, there's been cucumber sandwiches with the crusts cut off and a nice cup of Earl Grey with the little finger sticking out. Yes, be careful about summoning Jeff. And it does appear that he has escaped the basement, but not completely. I worry about Jeff. Jeff seems a bit of a dodgy geezer. Got to keep your eye on him all the time. Yeah, it is Jeff's fault. Mandy, it's definitely Jeff's fault. Beware summoning Jeff. Beware the Ides of Jeff. What are the Ides of March? Anyone know? I know it's a Shakespearean thing, but what the bleeding hell is an Ide? Oh. I'm not much better than I was. Not at all. Even though I've been taking loads of pills to try and increase my health, it doesn't appear to have done. Every morning I take a whole cocktail of shite. The Ides is the 15th. 15th of the month. So beware of the middle of the month. Would that be anything to do with the moon, full moons, half moons, when Julius Caesar was murdered? Yeah. Et tu, which is one of my favourite jokes from Still Game. Et tu, Isa. I never ate to anything. I love Still Game. I noticed that EB seems to like it as well. He's very taken with it. Takes some doing though watching it. If you don't understand the Scottish vernacular, it can be quite a struggle, but I love it. Julius Caesar was indeed murdered. The original caesarean section, right in the back, happy days. That's what happens. You know, when you go to the top, when you shoot for the moon, there's always someone there willing to take you down, and always for a few quid. But it was just, I'm trying to think, did I do Julius Caesar in school? I don't think I did, you know. No, we did Hamlet and A Midsummer Night's Dream, and The Merchant of Venice. What else did we do? We did 4 or 5 plays, a load of John Donne metaphysical poetry, and Wilfred Owen war poetry, which, for someone as heavily into poetry as I am, bored the ever-loving tits off me. And with Blackadder on this one, about getting rid of war poetry. Stop wars, if nothing else, just to stop war poetry, because it was bloody awful. Why do we English pronounce Caesar as Caesar instead of Kaiser? Good question. It might be to do with Celtic and Celtic, the same kind of rubbish that we have over here. I would think that would that come from the French way of saying things? Would it be Gaelic? Oh, I don't know. Yes, Steve, infamy, they've all got it, infamy. Whether you like Carry On films or not, you have to say that is an absolutely intensely superb joke. That's the kind of thing that if you wrote that, you take the rest of the day off. You're not going to go any better than that. Man, you went to school in Warwickshire. You did no Shakespeare at all. Did you do any experiments instead? Did you have a load of typewriters with a load of monkeys? And I don't know. Maybe that's what you did instead. Or were people in Warwickshire just Shakespeare'd out? Too much Shakespeare, in the same way that a lot of my people from Liverpool have had enough of the Beatles. You know, there's other bands in Liverpool. We keep telling people that. But it's difficult when you've got like 300 Japanese people at 4 o'clock in the morning taking photographs of somewhere John Lennon once had a piss. It can be a bit overkill at times, but there you go. Why do English pronounce D as in DJ? We pronounce lots of different things different ways, just because of where the influences come from. It makes no sense whatsoever. There's no fast rule. Which again, I think that's why it's one of the more difficult languages to learn. Stratford is in Warwickshire. His birthplace. Yep. Shakespeare just doesn't make any sense with a Brummie accent, though, does it? To buy or not to buy? That is the question. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? But not in an accent, mate. Jerry and the Pacemakers, yep. The Searchers. The guitarist of whom, John McNally, used to play five-a-side footy with us every Thursday night. Well into his 70s, about 78 when he last played. Great having chats with him. Really nice fella. When he talks about John and Paul, he is of course talking about John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and it's not like he's name dropping. He doesn't need to impress any of us, we know that. But when he's telling you stories about 2 of the people that you grew up idolising, it's crazy. I think I've mentioned this on previous streams as well. He's jealous of my dad being a footballer, and my dad's jealous of him being a musician. All footballers secretly want to be rock stars, and all rock stars secretly want to be footballers. No one's bloody happy at all, are they? It is a bit weird going to school in Warwickshire and doing no Shakespeare at all. I would have thought it would have been just, even if it's just one thing, one play, or one collection of sonnets or whatever, it should just be on there. It should be, if they cut you, do you not bleed Shakespeare? You would have done it. You think you would have done it. It is definitely weird. Exactly, yeah. How do we hear this? It's not just English, it's local history as well. It's a lot of stuff going on there. It's a lot of the culture as well, isn't it? The tourism industry in the Midlands, I would think a hell of a lot of it would be around Shakespeare. Because I know we as students in school, it was still school, it wasn't sixth form or anything, it was just school. I think we went on a school trip to go and see a Shakespeare play. I never actually went on that particular day because I think I had a hangover when I was 15, obviously. They went to Warwick to see a play being put on. But it makes more sense. Mandy, the grass is always greener, football and music. Are you talking about football, Mandy? Right, Steve, I think me and you need to have a conversation about Strictly Come Dancing. If Mandy's going to drag this thing into football, it's out of order, this. Just sport, Mandy. You never stop, do you? Terrible. Staff, you haven't succeeded at either of those careers yet. The one thing about football is you need to get there fairly early. Music you can do at any point in your life. You could learn guitar at the age of 70 and have a hit on your hands. You never know, do you? There's something good that comes out of you, whether it's art, music, poetry, paintings, anything like that, can come at any point in your life, and other people can like it. In fact, I do know I've written loads of songs, and pretty much there's only me that really hears them in my bedroom. But we used to play them in the pub. I'd occasionally play them in the pub of a night on a stay behind, and people seemed to like them, which always gave me a bit of a boost. That I wasn't just wasting my time being a well, I don't even say a bedroom Noel Gallagher, because I want to be something slightly better than that. Yep, Steve, me too. Big up the Ripper, the Angela Ripper. I hope she wins now. I've got no idea who else is in it. There might be someone in there that I really like, but no. We're repping the ripping. One of the actors who played Doctor Who was a brilliant footballer. That was Matt Smith, wasn't it? I think he was at Notts Forest, I remember hearing him. Very, very good player. He captained the youth teams. I think he had a bad injury, which ended up knocking him off course slightly. And just in that time, he ended up taking up acting. And I'm pretty sure he's not worried about that decision nowadays. Even though he can make a hell of a lot of money out of football, I'm sure he's made a few quid out of his acting. Doctor Who, of course, for people of my age, there is only one Doctor Who, and that is Tom Baker. Naturally, the one, the only, and not just because he's a Scouser. Just also the fact that he's an absolute thoroughbred lunatic, apparently. Didn't Vic Reeves buy his house off him? I'm sure there's a story about that. I'm going to have to find out where that is. But I just love the idea. Vic Reeves is enough of a nut as it is. Tom Baker is completely mental, and then having them two in the same building, one buying the house off the other. If it wasn't a real story, it should have been. Yep, Angela for the win. Saf, you've never seen a single episode of Doctor Who? I wouldn't worry about that in the slightest, mate. It's one of those shows that it is a bit Marmite. You either absolutely love it or you hate it. There doesn't seem to be any sort of middle ground. I don't mind Doctor Who. It's one of those that you either love it or you hate it. I wasn't a big fan when I was growing up, but those sort of the camp, the days when it was high camp and it was relatively funny. It was a little bit, it was a bit like Red Dwarf was at the beginning. It was a bit knockabout. Some of it deliberately made to look a little bit shit because that was what suited it. When you start making these things look like Hollywood films with huge special effects, I think you miss a little bit of the heart out of them. And I think that's what happened again with Red Dwarf. If you have a look at sort of series 10, 11, wherever it is, there's a bit too much reliance on CGI rather than making things funny. Make it funny first, then make it look better afterwards. Casper hasn't seen them either. And neither has Hadley. So we are a Doctor Who skeptic crowd by the look of it. Hadley doesn't have a TV. You don't live under a rock, you live under a pile of rocks with lots of little bugs and little animals, I would have thought. Casper has Hadley the movie. That would sell well. The BBC iPlayer is showing 800 episodes for the 60th anniversary. I didn't realise there'd been 800 episodes. But thinking about it, it's been on for that long that there must have been. That's ridiculous. How many other shows have 800 episodes? I thought MASH was bad enough with 256. Jesus, 800. Barnsey, how you doing, mate? Saf doesn't own a TV. You know what? You're not missing much, to be honest. If you can watch fish go by, if you can watch fish doing what your fish tend to do, then you don't need to be watching TV at all, do you? Mandy, I can name all the actors who've played Doctor Who in order. In order to do what? In order to impress us? In order to win a bet? Go on then. Dare you. Let's see how fast you can type. I'm trying to think who it was that who were the ones that I remember. Yeah, John Pertwee. We just had this one, Bardi. Tom Baker for me. Anyone who can shout as loud as he could. He's like Brian Blessed, but with eyes. That makes no sense, I know, but there you go. Plus he was the captain, wasn't he? Redbeard in Blackadder. Although John Pertwee is pretty decent, has to be said. I would like Sean Pertwee to take over as a doctor at some point, just to have that little bit of a thing going through it. Sean Pertwee's fantastic, of course. How do you put your TV off 4 years ago and didn't put it on again? Put it away 3 years ago and you're still not missing it. Again, best thing to do. You're better off just looking out the window or actually getting out there and seeing what's going on in nature. No, not a performing monkey. It's a shame that if we got another 999 performing monkeys, we could have seen if we could have done the complete work of Shakespeare via the medium of dance. Best doctor was Andrew Sachs. Oh, Jonathan Ross and, Russell Brand. Isn't he wonderful? It's weird, him, you know. I seen a thing he did years ago. I know he used to be a heroin addict, didn't he? Or he was heavily into drugs. When he was trying to improve himself and get himself in a better place, he was doing a TV show. And I can't remember what it was on, whether it was MTV or Paramount or something like that. He ended up taking a homeless fella off the street and taking him into his flat. They both ended up in the bath together, getting clean and getting just interviewing. That was a crazy thing to do, but he come across as a really nice lad. Genuinely worried about the fate of people who were living on the street and people who had addiction. And he was going out of his way to try and help them out. And then all of a sudden he's just turned into an absolute knob. He might have done Casper, he might have done that in the bath, but you know. Saf, if I had to recommend one British show for you to watch, what would it be? Oh, that is one hell of a question. That is a hell of a question. It all depends. You see, for me it would always be comedy. It would always be comedy or something along those lines. I'd say Inside number 9. If you can't find something you like in that oeuvre, there's something for everyone in there. Be right back, how do we know what it is? Yeah, Steve, that new stadium is looking fantastic. And it's brilliant that it's going to get used in the Euros because it is annoying the life out of the Copites who want to know why they've been overlooked. Because they've got a really nice stadium, which, well, isn't really nice at all, is it? It's just one big hole punch with a load of shite around the side of it. No, so they wanted something decent, so they're coming to something that's being purpose built and will be ready in time for it. That's the reason why, and it is going to look good. Yep, fast show. The only problem with that though is I think you need to be prepared for the fast show. I don't know how well it worked over in the States. And it was called something else, wasn't it? My head's gone completely, but are people used to the fact that occasionally there's no actual comedy involved, it's just a punchline? And that sounds like it's shit, and it isn't. Obviously, everyone that's watched the fast show will absolutely love it because it is hilarious. Sometimes you can boil comedy down to literally one line and a punchline, and it works perfectly. But I wonder I think you have to be a little bit prepared for that. The fast show were called Brilliant in the USA because they have to change everything, obviously. They couldn't just call it the fast show. Otherwise you get loads of people trying to check it out thinking it was going to be cars, I suppose, wouldn't you? Not the 9 o'clock news was absolutely superb. I loved that. To this day, I think we still quote bits of it in the house, funnily enough. Love it, love it, love it. That's on BritBox as well now, I think. Which is quite handy to have. Stuff that doesn't get shown anywhere else. Hello, I used to have a love-hate relationship with, because in theory it is absolute genius. Everyone's speaking English but with their own accents. Stupidly brilliant. But a lot of it was just, it was sort of Mrs. Brown's Boys humour, that lowest common denominator. It could have just been polished slightly, add a bit more Blackaddery in there, and it would have been superb. But even so, it is still funny at times. Absolutely Fabulous is absolutely fabulous, as the title suggests. Brilliantly written, brilliantly performed, and genuinely funny. With a great cast as well. I mean, Joanna Lumley, I think, is one of the absolute finds of the comedy world, because let's face it, she wasn't a comic actor. And one thing I absolutely love as well about women, especially women comedians or actors. I mean, Joanna Lumley was a model and made most of her career to begin with on being the pretty girl or the very attractive lady. For there to suddenly just not give a shit about what she looks like, have her makeup scrawled all over her face, be upside down in a skip, not giving a shit what she looks like. I think that's absolutely superb. When you ever see a woman do that, Victoria Wood was brilliant at it. Don't be vain about what you're trying to do at all, because the comedy is in the truth. It's like Victoria Wood being greased up to try and swim the channel. That is to this day, I think it's one of the saddest things I've ever seen. That particular sort of little sketch that she did. Absolutely superb. And Joanna Lumley done that, and does with the travel videos as well. It's not looking for a mirror all the time. It's just what you see is what you get. Fantastic. Steve, I'm not pissing you. Yeah, Barnesy, yeah, Gerald, wild. I was absolutely livid. Adam. Look what I received about 10 minutes before the stream started. Geisha coffee. I had a Polish delivery woman popped it through the window, because the window's open here. Apologised for being late, which, I think they deliver till 10 o'clock, so before 8 o'clock isn't particularly late. But yeah, so it's there. I will give that a go. No unboxing, because to be able to unbox something you need 2 working hands, and it has been packaged very nicely. Not just coffee in there. Have I got to worry about Jeff jumping out? Unfortunately, I would need some kind of knifey, stabby thing, and I don't want to cut my handy, grabby thing off. So I'm going to have to get my mum or dad to open that for us later on. But I may well try and do an unboxing video myself anyway, and make sure to do that for you. I am looking forward to having a taste of that. Very, very much so. Who's been sending prezzies? That would be from our good friend Adam, who's just in the chat now. You got me sold on the idea of geisha coffee. Is it geisha or geisha? I always get that one wrong, I suppose, don't I? I like the idea of it, so I am giving it a good go. If it would have arrived a little bit earlier, I could have done an unboxing, couldn't I? And could have even had a cup live on air. But that is one of the problems about not being able to use that stupid bleeding hand. Geisha from Ethiopia, geisha from Panama. Ah, right. Well, I like that. At least I know what it is now. I'll forget that, obviously, within about 5 minutes of reading it, because unfortunately that's the way my brain works these days. But yeah, I like that. I'm really, really interested to see what it tastes like. I love the videos that you've been doing recently as well. Like I've said before, and then there's a definite style to them. There's a colour to them. There's a richness that I love seeing. I'm all about light and colour at the moment, as you can probably tell. Just obsessed with lights. I would spend a fortune. I do like a nice cup of coffee, but it has to be very, very rare, few and far between. It's strange as well whenever I used to go to like Preston and places like that with the workers, me friends from work, would always get a coffee. Never stop at a tea room, despite the fact that all of us in work only ever drink tea. Would always go for a coffee. It's just weird. There seems to be some kind of ritual thing that we used to do. Plus, you don't really stop and get a tea to take out, do you? Yeah, Adam, I seen that last night. The poo-oriented coffee. I've got no idea why that started. Who was the first person who thought that's a good idea? I'll go rummaging around the shite looking for berries. Yeah, but I like that. Good video. And the little the elephants, man, the elephants. Yes, man, at the footy as well. You're mentioning footy quite a lot tonight, considering. Yeah, I do have a coffee at the footy. It is only Douwe Egberts. I think it might be instant. But for someone who's spent 30 odd years having a pint before every game, going and having a coffee is a huge deal. No matter how good it is, it actually tastes alright. It's nice and warm. And the last game I went to, it was cold. It was freezing cold and wet. So when I got in and got me hot coffee, it was more than welcome. So, no doubt, the next game I go to, the coffee will be cold, the weather will be hot, and we'll get absolutely annihilated everywhere. Yes, Mandy, there's a civet involved, or a civet, if you live in Rome. Civets, civets, Caesars and Keezers. Other animals as well. It's worth watching, Mandy. It's a really good video. It's answered a few questions, because I have heard about that coffee before in the past, but I had no idea about the sort of the background to it, so to speak. It's very, very strange, but very interesting to find out. It's weird, the videos that you make actually are weird, because coffee is such a, I don't know, I don't want to say it's a throwaway thing, because obviously it's not, but it's a straightforward sort of thing we take for granted. It's there, isn't it? You grab a coffee, it's there. When you start looking into the whole history of stuff, there's more to it than I'd ever think possible. So it is interesting watching that. I do like it. You're buttering bot up for extra pointage. Yes, Adam, your sarcasm levels were on point. I think the phrase is, yeah, doing well there. Saf, all the Cape Town City FC games will be played under the summer sun. Oh, of course. Yep. That's another thing that I keep forgetting as well. The Southern Hemisphere. Summertime now, isn't it? Or it's coming up to summertime anyway. And I should know that. I've got loads of mates in Australia. Yeah. Quite a few of them say, when are you coming over? Do you mean, when am I coming over? The Netherlands is an hour that way, and I haven't been there since 1985. You're thinking I'm flying all the way around the bleeding world? Yeah. Not a chance. I would if I could, but unfortunately, I don't have the Dwayne Eddies either. Yes, Adam, I do. The existence of the southern hemisphere. I'm pretty sure it does exist. I haven't been there yet though. The age of 50, I've never been in the southern hemisphere. The closest I've been is Cuba. Cuba or Tenerife. I can't make out which one's further south, but either or. But even that's not far enough. I need to go further south. I need to go somewhere. I need to step on Africa as well. I've managed North America, Cuba, Europe, obviously. Africa's just round the corner from bleeding Tenerife and never even went there. Welcome back, Hadwig, after your emergency pee trip. Yeah, Barnsey, the elephant thing surprised me. I'd never seen that before. I think anything around ship-based coffee would surprise me, but with elephants, I thought it'd have to be something small, a very small animal. I didn't think you'd be getting a shovel and shoveling through ton after ton of elephant shite looking for it, but there you go. And the furthest you've been is the east coast of the States. I've been to the west coast. That was good, actually, I must admit. But that was because went to see friends quite a lot. We had quite a few Irish friends in Los Angeles back in the 80s. A lot of whom went there to get away from stuff that they shouldn't have been doing in Ireland during the 80s, by the sounds of it. Not that we knew till later on, but But it was interesting to go to see them. They'd really taken to the American lifestyle. So much so that in 1980, we went to a place called Arcadia and stayed with a family there for a couple of days just for like a weekend party, or party weekend even. And ended up watching LA Dodgers baseball and loved it, to the point where I've been sort of not supporting, but my team has been the LA Dodgers since 1980. I do like watching a bit of baseball. Furthest east is Bonaire. Furthest south, New Zealand. Yeah, that is very, very south New Zealand. You can't get much further south, really, can you, without starting to bang into... Oh, what's happening here? Penguins and things. Oh, one of my monitors has gone off. And now I can't see a bleeding thing. Yep. Can you go north of the Arctic? Well, you can definitely go north of the Arctic Circle. I know that. My dad's been there to play football, which is must be a very strange thing to do. Steve, I've never been to Cornwall. I'm trying to think what's the furthest south I've been in England. Would have to be Salisbury Plain. I went with my mate who used to be in the army to go and pick a fridge up and some other bits and pieces when he was moving back north. He was a massive, huge, strong bodybuilder, and he just walked in and picked the fridge up and walked out with it. I thought, brilliant, glad you're doing that, because I couldn't pick that bloody thing up. Yeah, but monitor is completely dead, and I have no idea why. So Adam's been putting some bangy jazz on the videos. Yeah, don't mind a little bit of jazz thrown in there myself. Or even jazz fusion. Being a guitarist, I do like a little bit of the old Mahavishnu Orchestra. The Arctic is everything north of the Arctic Circle. It should be, yeah. So it can be anything from Norway, Russia, Canada. Inuit fam. You've been to the Scilly Isles twice, Adam? That's a bit of a trek as well, isn't it, really? It's, I suppose anywhere like that, all those the smaller islands, Scilly Islands, and then Channel Islands. They really are places we should go and check out because they're not. I don't think they sound unusual to me. They're not the same as the Isle of Wight or the Isle of Man. It's just a little bit more strange. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind going to Scilly Isles. I also wouldn't mind going up north. Some of the Scottish ones, they seem rather good. The Orkneys and the Shetlands, or what have you. I'm going to volley this thing all over the place later on when I finish. See, the monitor I bought is working. The monitor that work gave me isn't. Do I like Brand X? Not as much as my normal washing powder. I don't know. Don't really know Brand X, to be honest with you. It's something I'm going to have to look into, isn't it? From 1651 to 1986, you were at war with the Scilly Islands. 1986? Is that one of those weird ones where everywhere else in the UK signed a peace treaty apart from them? Saf, no worries, mate. Right, so it's called the 335-jarige oorlog. Which trips off the tongue, doesn't it? 335-year war. Oorlog. Is that war, is it? Actually, you forgot you're at war. Yeah. Oh, Brand X is a progressive jazz rock fusion band from the 70s with Phil Collins. Now, Phil Collins is an absolutely incredible drummer. Never gets the credit he deserves just because he's a long-haired, baldy, piano-playing bastard. And, you know, I adore Phil Collins, but not when he's sat at a piano. Keep him away from a piano. Keep him behind a drum set, and he's doing well. Yeah, Oorlog is war. Yeah, I'm going to have to check out Brand X. Let's have a look at it on Spotify. I hate using Spotify, but it's an absolute necessity at time, isn't it? Yeah, Brand X. Brand X were a British jazz rock fusion outfit formed by Genesis drummer Phil Collins and Atomic Rooster guitarist John Goodsell. The initial lineup also included keyboardists Robin Lumley and bassist Percy Jones. That's a very, very English sounding band, yeah. Oh, check that out. Got an album called Moroccan Roll. There you are, I'm sold. I am definitely sold with that, mate. Nice one. Yeah, Spotify's an absolute knobhead thing, isn't it? But it is handy for checking out new stuff. Plus, I'm going to have to make more and more use of it because every time my daughter comes here, she leaves with a little present. So last night, she sent me a text. Are you just doing anything? There was only me and my dad. My mum had gone to bed because she's not been feeling well. And so it's alright if I come round. And I was wondering why. Yeah, no worries. Well, can you come and pick me up? So I had to go and pick her up. And then when she come round, she left with my Smiths album, A Hat Full of Hollow. And I also give her the Sundays reading, writing and arithmetic. Just because she's got a record player and I wanted to hear some good albums on vinyl. So I went and picked her up and brought her back here so she could steal vinyl from me. I technically aided and abetted in my own burglary. I'll tell you what, this kidney had better be worth it. Phil Collins is mental in Brand X doing 5/8 drum signatures at speed. Let's look at the song called Nuclear Burn. Okay. It's the most... Yeah, there we go. It's ready to play. It's the most listened to one on there, so it must be decent. There's a lad on YouTube who watches music, lots of prog rock and lots of heavy metal, and reacts to them. It's called Lead Reacts. Elf B3, and he's a drummer himself, and he's been watching loads of Genesis, Yes, King Crimson, and he was constantly absolutely blown away by Phil Collins. And he's another one that I think people don't realise. Yeah, Barnesy, everyone thinks of Phil Collins as the gorilla suit. You know, I can hear it coming in the air tonight. Everyone thinks that's what he does. That's it. That's all he does. When you listen to some of his stuff with Genesis, it's really, really strange, avant-garde, a lot of jazz-influenced stuff. And for someone like myself who grew up listening to Yes, one of my favourite drummers of all time is Bill Bruford, who's a real jazz-oriented drummer. He's a lot into his jazz fusion as well. So when he's in a rock and roll band, when he was in Yes, it was it was a rock and roll band at the start, or a rock band, and you had a classical keyboard player, a jazz drummer, and then everyone put together. It's like, this shouldn't work, and for a lot of people it doesn't work, but for me, it works perfectly. For the week, yeah, all the music's there. I'll put everything in a Spotify playlist, and all I need to do is add the little links in between each song. The only problem, I've said this before on one of these, is the program that I use to try and put everything onto the Spotify for the podcast keeps cocking up on me. So if I try and put an entire episode on there, it'll miss out songs, or it'll miss out vocal links, and I'm trying to get it to fix so everything goes on in order. It's an absolute pain in the arse. I hate it. It used to be I could do it on my phone and it worked perfectly. Then they done an update and now the phone doesn't work, and even the desktop app doesn't work. Absolute pain. Hate it. And then you've got the vinyl first pressings of every Genesis album, from Trespass to Invisible Touch, or the actual good albums, I think you would call them, wouldn't you? Yeah, from Genesis to Revelation, or wherever they called the first album. It was called different things, wasn't it? Depending on where you bought it from. Not bad, but not proper Genesis. Trespass onwards was proper Genesis. And of course, when Peter Gabriel left, for me, things went downhill. Not hugely. Trick of the Tail is still a fantastic album. And some of the best songs they ever written were on there. Fair play to them. I love Genesis. Not as much as Yes, but I really do. I'm thankful that when we moved back to England in 1985, my mate got me into all the prog rock stuff, because I think it was something I needed at that particular time in my life. When you're 15, you need Van de Graaff generator in your life, man. Home by the Sea 1 and 2, they are, but it's still, they're nowhere near as good as Genesis with Gabriel. The canon with Gabriel, fantastic. Pushing things forwards. Yes, Mandy. Nice. Duke was the last decent album. Duke's another really, I think it's another album that possibly doesn't get the credit it deserves. I think a few of their albums don't get the credit they deserve. You're right as well, Adam. Possibly because they went a bit too poppy. So for a lot of Genesis fans, when you see them at number one in the charts, like they're sold out. Yeah, some of the stuff they did was complete sellouts, but some of it wasn't. They went high in the charts because it was good music and it was slightly more accessible than a 28-minute song. You know, Supper's Ready is definitely better than Invisible Touch, but it's not going to sell as many in the hit parade, as it were, is it? Just got to accept that. When you're a prog fan, you've got to accept that. You know, you're not going to hear your songs played on the radio too often, are you? Again, which is why I love some of the playlists that I've got on Spotify, because there will be something of sort of 30-minute songs followed by a 2-minute pop song, a punk song, followed by Nothing's Working. Where's that gone to? Please do not say that's disappeared somewhere else. Right. Well, do you know what? Botrix is still plugged in. It's still working, in theory. Yeah, it is working. The Invisible Touch tour in '87. Yeah, there's a good video of that, which I used to have. That's all. You prefer the afterwards. For me, it's always Gabriel. He's got one of those voices. I think I've said this before on me podcast, but also on here. I think it's one of those voices that I want to take to the grave with me. Because I got into that particular era of Genesis when I was 15, learning guitar and trying to sing. There's some people's voices that stuck with me, and his was one of them. And today I do still find that comfort in familiarity with Peter Gabriel's voice. Like, looking for someone on Trespass when he starts, just that opening line. I think it's just absolutely stunning how great his voice sounds. Nursery Crime's your favourite album, the Genesis with Gabriel. That's a fantastic album, I must admit. I like that. I like all the artworks as well of those albums. Progressive metal, yeah. Tool, Carnival, Catatonia, soon, Uriane, Opeth. A few of them, I've heard of them, but there's not a huge amount of them that I know very well. Porcupine Tree I do. I know a fair bit of Porcupine Tree. I'm not as well into the sort of the modern day prog metal, or the modern day prog as I am by the old stuff. My record collection is still full of Van der Graaf Generator, King Crimson, Genesis, yes. All that stuff, all that malarkey. Which is the only thing that's going to be left, really, isn't it? All my Stone Roses, Happy Mondays and Smiths and stuff will be gone. I'll be left with the prog. But it doesn't really matter. Lee Reacts, it's I'll find out what it is and I'll put a link in the RDA chat later on, Adam. But it's L33. I can't think off the top of my head what the name of the channel is, but I've got a few things saved, so I'll put a link in the RDA later for you. It's interesting seeing someone who's come into that era of prog from the newer era, and I don't think he was expecting too much. And again, he is being absolutely blown away by how good some of the music is, the musicianship, but the songs as well. They're not just people showing off. A lot of it is well-written music. That's it, Lee Reacts, L33 Reacts. He's a good lad as well, actually. He comes across as being a decent lad. And he likes all the music I like, so always a good thing to see. If you go to the link, scroll down for the table. It's amazing, isn't it, Botrix? Done nothing for ages now, all of a sudden it's trying to sell itself. Is that what it's trying to do? Trying to make other people look at it and go, yeah, this will work on my stream as well, or I can do this. Oh, geez, you know what? Never trust Botrix, never trust Jeff. Shady sod. Need more water, man. But I like finding new music as well, I must admit. So one thing I'll say about Spotify, the algorithm that they've got on there is pretty good when it comes to suggesting new music or music you haven't heard. Yeah, well, a white drummer will have heard of War Pigs by Sabbath. I think he will have heard quite a bit of the music, but there's some of the Yes and Genesis stuff he definitely hasn't heard before, and he's seems to be really into it. People have been giving him some Van der Graaf Generator as well, which is always nice to see, but not everyone's ready for Van der Graaf Generator. I always think you've got to work your way up to them, and then at some point, if you're ready for it, someone will hand you Porn Hearts, and you can listen to a Plague of Lighthouse Keepers. But you have got to be ready for that. You've got to really work hard, get your prog muscle working, build yourself up to that, because otherwise It's too much, man. You'd be swimming in prog. No one needs that. Always reacted to that, has he? Right? So the people on there must have the decent taste as well. I'll have to check that one out. In fact, I'll check that one out. That's what I can listen to it there first and see what he thinks of it at the same time. Two birds, one stone. Suarez. Should we go and see what Kippers has got to say?
Kippers kicks ass.
Right, climate change could make beer taste worse. Global warming is changing the quality and taste of beer, scientists have warned. Okay, so in a new study they're saying that the hops, the European hops which gives the beer its gorgeous taste, it's declining. Can't have that. Hotter, longer, drier summers are going to worsen the situation. And that's when beer should be at its best. Beer could be more expensive. You evil coal-burning bastards. Yes, Kippers, I think we can all agree with that. You are 100% right.
Kippers kicks ass.
You can't mess with the beer, man. Not that I'm drinking it myself. And when I do, it's alcohol-free, isn't it? Beck's Blue, so it's no big deal, but you can't be doing that. Yep, hops, man. Can't be ruining it, man. You can't be ruining beer. What you do on a red hot day after you've been doing some work, you've got to have beer. I never used to drink lager at all. It was always Guinness until we had a really hot summer back in 1996 or something stupid. In fact, I might have even been a little bit earlier than that. And it was just too hot to drink Guinness, so I ended up having a few lagers. And that is the kind of thing that when you have done a day's work, a quick one of them, then you can go whenever you want. Adam, cheers, mate. Much appreciated. Good night to you, and I will enjoy the box, mate. Thank you very much for that. I will get that unboxed as soon as I can. Worst tasting beer is the least of our problems. How do we? It's not really. It's one of them. It's one amongst many. But if we can use beer going up and beer tasting badly as a reason to get some of the naysayers on board with looking after the planet, I don't see why not. Leverage everything we can do. Some people don't believe in climate change. If you said the beer's going to be more expensive, they'll be recycling everything in the house. Yep, definitely, Barnsley. It's a reason to stop oil. Keep beer cheap. Keep it tasting nice. Yep, 36 plus back in 1975 in Denmark. 36C, which is that a song? No, yeah, 36C, isn't it? Or was that The Beautiful South? Or was that 36D? One or the other, wasn't it? I can't remember. It was me moaning earlier on. It's getting colder. I've got the window open. It's still bleeding hot. Mind you, I am wearing a fleece hoodie, obviously, so that might be part of the reason. Isn't the weather supposed to change completely? Right. How do we hear Climate and Weather Service made the long-term predictions available? Very wet winters with hail and strong rains. And dry summers with heat up to 50 degrees Celsius. That's stupid. That is very, very stupid. We weren't built for that kind of weather. Casper, I'm not sure about Danish music. I don't know of any Danish bands off the top of my head, but I might do. There's so many bands, so many European bands who sound English and have got English names and sing in English. And then you find out later on they're from just countries that you wouldn't believe, so never know. I might have heard some Danish stuff. I haven't heard any native Danish speaking bands. If you've got anything decent, let me know. I'm quite happy to have a try. The best case scenario, you still lose 60% of the country to the water between 2100 and 2150 but it might be soon. That's horrible. There'll be a few places like that as well, won't there? There'll be the islands and the Pacific that just are not going to survive for much longer. The Seychelles and places like that have been going mad at the United Nations. Can you just please try and save us? Because if you carry on, this island's going to go, that island's going to go, Netherlands is going to disappear in the water. Where I live will probably be underwater as well because we're right on the coast. Volbeat. I will have to... Bloody stupid thing. Oh, hang on, no. What am I doing that for? I have a pen. That never normally ends well on streams though, does it? Having pens. The water has risen 400 feet in the last 12,000 years. Doesn't sound a lot, but it is. And there'll be a lot more to come and a lot quicker. Dan will probably get round to doing more stuff, but every time he has one of those streams, there's just people throwing music at him left, right and centre. Which is why, part of the reason why I don't really watch those particular streams, because I don't like Nightwish. And if you don't like Nightwish and everyone's just telling you to watch another Nightwish song, it's a bit lost. I still put it on my phone, just leave it there, but I don't really watch. Yep. The planet will go on, but we won't. And unfortunately, we could go on a lot longer, but we're not going to because people just don't give a shite. The planet itself will see us gone, and then it'll repair itself, and whoever or whatever's around afterwards will thrive. I have mentioned before, I think one of the greatest things I've ever heard was off Crocodile Dundee. People fighting wars over land. It's like two fleas arguing over who owns the dog. And sometimes we need to remember that. The planet's the planet. We're just here for a very, very short time. We are ruining it, but it will heal itself afterwards. We're just not going to be around to enjoy the fruits of those labours. Yeah, Barnesy, I'm on the coast, but still miles away from the sea. I did try and get down there during the summer. See if I get some sunsets glistening off the water, and the water is beyond the horizon. So if anyone believes in a flat earth, come to Southport, stand on the beach and see if you can see the sea, because you can't. That in itself should prove the curvature. Can Dan build an ark? No, see, that would make good content. That's the kind of YouTube channel that you need. And why hasn't anyone done, or has someone actually done that? I say, why hasn't anyone done it? I'm sure there'll be somewhere over there in the States who would have built an ark live on YouTube. Surely someone must have done that, live streamed building an ark. You'd make a fortune, wouldn't you? Get all the advertising on there. Yeah, in 1 million years, the sun will swallow up the innermost planets as a start. It will, when it becomes is it a red giant? It becomes. Then it will just subsume the planets. We're not going to be there, obviously. We will have gone way before them. Yeah, you could probably knock up a decent decking. That reminds me, I got banned out of B&Q by us the other week. I was by the garden centre part of it, and some alpha said, "You want decking?" So I punched him. Yeah, banned for life. Someone in the car the other day said, "Is there a B&Q in Southport?" I said, "No, there's an S, a couple of O's, a U, a T." Yes, Steve, Elon Musk has something up his sleeve. I have no doubt it will be some kind of racially insensitive tattoo, or the letter X. Man's an absolute fuckwit. Don't understand why people think he's remotely intelligent or rich. fairly soon, and I would have thought it is fairly soon because Twitter's imploding and he's losing money hand over fist with that. Someone's going to realise that he's over-leveraged Tesla stock, which has been overvalued as it is. And the people at Tesla, the shareholders, will want to get rid of him because he is. The whole thing will come crashing down. He hasn't got the money that he says he has. He's doing a Trump as well. Of my company's worth X amount of money, but it's not. It's not worth anywhere near that. Yep, someone in India will build the arcs. Outsourcing always goes to India, doesn't it? Quarter-sized, outsourced Indian arcs. Couldn't get enough quality tar. They need to go to Middlesbrough. Plenty of tar there. Back in the 80s anyway. A round rate boat, a raft. There's I'm trying to think, what did I see that on? James May did a programme. James May's Man Lab was called. And they built a round, sort of rafty little boat. As part of one of the experiments that he did on there. They made it exactly the way they used to back in the good old days. Yep, how do we? Elongated muskrat is a lil. He isn't Honda-lil. And he has got USA by the bollocks with SpaceX. The only problem is, like I say, with them, everything's leveraged on Tesla stock, and it's such hugely overvalued. You'd think that Tesla was worth more than like a Toyota and Volkswagen, and it's not remotely, not even close. And at some point, the penny will drop, the cent will drop, and the value will drop. At which point he won't have the money or the backers to get himself out the shit. He'd have to give Tesla back to the Teslans, SpaceX back to whoever he bought that off, because all the stuff he bought, it wasn't him who come up with it. He didn't develop Tesla. He didn't design rockets, nothing like that. He just bought these companies on the back of Tesla. A coracle, I don't know if it was a coracle as such, but it was a circular boat made out of reeds and things. I'll see if I can get a picture of it. It's on Amazon Prime, so I might be able to just screenshot while he's out and about in boat, pissing about in boat, and drop lil. Canal boats suck at sailing; they can barely float. Yeah, and it's funny when you see them over here because quite a few of the canals that we have will have to cross tidal rivers, and if you want to get from sort of the Leeds-Liverpool Canal onto the Manchester Ship Canal, you have to go across the River Mersey, which is very, very tidal. And it looked dangerous seeing someone going across there in a really, it looked like a tiny narrowboat. Narrowboats are not tiny, but this thing looked really tiny because there was oil tankers and all kinds in the Mersey. So it looked ridiculously minuscule. Jeff, what the hell is he playing at? He won't be responsible for his outbursts. I don't trust Jeff one bit. Definitely a dodgy boiler, him, you know. Yeah, he's always shouting as well, isn't he? Caps lock cretin. Yeah, but an emergency knitted potato raft. Get it done. $250 messages per stream, Mandy. That's normally you do that just moaning about football. Do we need to talk about football so you can moan about it, get your messages per second up? Oh yeah, I see. Now Botrix jumps in after Jeff trying to make peace and vibes after Jeff's been in here shouting his mouth off. I think to get Jeff out of his system, we need to go over to Horace's haikus. I think Horace thinks that he needs some kind of theme tune as well. Might have to work on that this week. Anyway, I'm Barry Maguire. I'm an airsign sports agent. Show me the honey. No idea. Horace, do bears actually like honey, or is this just like a Paddington thing? Yeah, I am aware of what you do in the woods. Absolute idiot. Do you like honey though? You prefer kebabs? He apparently prefers kebabs. No idea. I have no idea what these things do when I'm not in here. About Jeff being a knob. Kipper's threatening to set fire to... Well, not really threatening to set fire to things, is he? But, yeah. Threatening to kill people who don't agree with his stop oil agenda. And Horace shitting in woods. What have I done to deserve this? It's still 19C over there, is it? What are we here? According to me phone, it is 12 degrees C and it feels like 10 degrees. Got a low chance of precipitation, which means it's going to piss down, obviously. We are getting as low as 7 degrees overnight. Balls to it. I'll have to put my smock on and do my Liam Gallagher walk down the street tomorrow instead. Horace. I am going to have to work on a theme tune for him, aren't I? Because he is pissed off with that. He's pissed off that Kippers has got his own little his little intro slide as well. Little does he know that me has to come up with this shit. I've got to be the tech guy. I'm sick of being technic. Happens all the time. It's always me who has to fix things. And I've had enough of it. I might go on strike. Why not? My monitor's already started as it is. Work, you vicious piece of shit. I shouldn't say that, should I? It's Philips, which is Dutch, so can't be slagging the Dutch off with Hadwick in the chat. Yep. It is quite cute, isn't it, Horace's pic? Much nicer than him in real life. It's been airbrushed to death by the look of it. 7 degrees. Oof. We are, to be fair, it is October, and it's not even the start of October, is it? We're in the middle of October. Well, middle-ish, 11th. We're deep into October. I suppose winter's not that far away, really. We've had it all right this year, haven't we? It's not been too bad. I've only had to put the heating on, the radiator in the room in the last few weeks. Right, so Philips has moved from Eindhoven. How? When? When was this? Why was I not told about this? I didn't realise that. I always thought that it was just Philips was an Eindhoven institution, I thought. That's strange, that. Why has it moved to Amsterdam? Is that just the clerical staff? Is it sort of the head office moved there, or is it manufacturer moved to Amsterdam as well? Strange. FFFFF, Chris Waddle, yep. Very sminky pinky. It was below freezing the night before last. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Isn't the liver of the polar bear deadly because of the high vitamin A? I did not know that. Why is there so much vitamin A? Polar bears are weird anyway. Very, very weird things. They look so cute, don't they? And yet they would absolutely tear your face off, given half a chance. Still cute. was going to say, normally, vicious things are made to look vicious, aren't they? But I suppose cheetahs and things like that don't look particularly look vicious. They look really, really nice, pretty looking things. But again, given half the chance, they scrag your face off as well. Although, isn't it? Cheetahs, as long as you don't run away from them, you're alright. Face them up, look big, just don't run away. Because they like chasing after you. Don't eat predatory animals. Yeah, they must be, because they're full of eating other animals, it's not good for you. Right, Phillips moved in 2001 to the Zydus. They wanted to have a more international allure. I suppose Amsterdam is more alluring than Eindhoven in international terms, but I thought Phillips was just, it was known. The whole point was that's what Eindhoven was Phillips. It was interchangeable. Hence the Phillips Stadium. It was just always, that's so strange. But like with most things, I suppose it'll come down to money at some point, won't it? Most of these companies do. What pisses me off about everyone moving to London. Well, the whole industry, like the music and media industry, is in London. It doesn't have to be. You can record albums anywhere. And they said, well, the whole industry's down there. Well, it is because everyone's moved down there. If people lived in Liverpool and Manchester and didn't move to London, then the industry would be split between Liverpool, London and bleeding Manchester. Why not? Stay in the places that made you what you are. Right, so you've got ASML now. Puts Philips in the shade on all fronts. Being in the shade for a company that makes light bulbs is not good. Not good at all. Or maybe it is actually. I was going to say, yeah, I've got shades up there. And actually, my lights are Philips. They're not Hue though, the Philips Whiz, the cheap versions. But they work. Not them ones. Me hair lights, me rim lights, me normal big light that you put on when you want to read. So if anyone's struggling to afford those ridiculous Philips Hue lights, buy the Philips Whiz instead. It comes with an app and everything and works brilliantly. To the point where I can voice operate it when I come into my room. If I'm struggling, just scream it at my phone and the lights come on. Philips is more aiming towards, is it making medical devices and things? All right, I didn't know that. Did they make blood pressure testing machines? Or maybe, you know what, yeah, no, fuck them, I won't. I'll buy something else. I'm not supporting Philips. If they're taking hard workers' jobs off them and moving them to Amsterdam, don't need that. Can I operate my phone in Dutch? That's a very, very good question. Well, I can swear in Dutch while I'm using it. Does that count? When I press the wrong number or phone the wrong person, godverdomme, kut ding. That might be, is that operating the phone in Dutch? You could, couldn't you? I think it's got multi-languages in it, so as long as it recognises my voice, if I say it's in Dutch, I tell it to begin with, this is going to be in Dutch, and then train it to understand the words that I'm saying, I think it would work. It can understand Scouse, so it must be able to understand Dutch. I would think anyway. Easier to understand Dutch as it's an actual language, rather than just some melty-faced, babbling northern gobshite. Yeah, there you go. You would count godverdomme and kut ding as operating your phone. I'm taking that as that's going on the tour posters, definitely. That is something that does get used in the office as well occasionally. And I don't think anyone realises what good thing is. Maybe they think I'm just shouting good thing, but I'm not. You can get away with that. I don't think there's anyone else who speaks Dutch in our office. Not that I've been in for such a long, long time. I've only got to get to the end of next month as well, haven't I? And I've made sure that I've not had an alcoholic drink in a full 12 months. So that means that I'm going to have to get to the end of December and I won't have had any alcohol in the whole of 2023, which is going to be a fantastic thing. I think we'll raise a glass to that on the New Year's Eve. And non-alcoholic red wine as normal. Siri replies, dat is niet aardig. Another Siri fact. That's a proper fact about Siri, not a Benny Hill Siri fact. The original voice of Siri, the woman who did the original voice, follows me on Twitter. I wonder what she gets out of it. In the same way that David Hasselhoff, I wonder what he gets out of my tweets. I've got no idea what he sees in them, if he's ever seen them. And does he know what a narky blurt is? Obviously what I call quite a few people, being from Liverpool. There's loads of narky blurts there. Yeah, non-alcoholic wines are getting better. You had a good non-alcoholic rosé one the other night, or the day rather. There are some good ones. I had a good Tempranillo, which was quite nice. I still like I've got used to drinking the same Merlot, a German one, Iceberg Merlot. And it reminds me of another wine, an alcoholic one. I can't think which one it is because I've not been drinking one for a long time. But it does the job for me and I don't feel like I'm missing out. The same as Beck's Blue. When in terms of beers, that's been really handy. When you're watching footy and you fancy a beer, a non-alcoholic one that actually tastes like beer, it's good. I'm in no rush to get back on the alcohol. Apparently it's no big deal as long as you don't do something stupid with it, like I was doing. But definitely in no rush to go back on it, so why would I? It must be healthier for me. And my balance is still not good enough, I don't think, to be getting kettled. So that will have to wait or might never happen again. We just don't know these things. If I didn't celebrate my 50th birthday with a glass of wine, then 51, 52, etc. is going to be no big deal, really, is it? Here's where Everton win the FA Cup and really test me bleeding patience. Nah, I still wouldn't drink. Would you not have champagne? No, it tastes like shite. If there's anyone French watching, I apologise, but champagne tastes like shite. It's horrible, horrible stuff. That's a hill I am willing to collapse on. Rosé though, I just can't do rosé. It's like a cheat wine, isn't it? A cheat. Have red or white. Don't have somewhere in between. Just pick one and go for it. Yeah, if you don't miss it, don't go back to it. Saying that, I don't miss work either. And I'm not sure they'd say, yeah, stay where you are, but you never know. There's a lottery on Friday. Champagne's definitely overrated. Saying that, I've never had the money to be able to buy something from there. 1920 or whatever it is, these fantastic, amazing wines and champagnes. I did like the fact that they did a blind taste test with sommeliers from all over the world, and one of the best wines that they could find was something that cost about £3.50 from Aldi. They said it absolutely amazing flavour, great body and all this stuff, and the fella who was doing the TV show was sort of sniggering a little bit. At the end, the one that was in the middle, that was 20 odd quid. This one cost 400 and you thought it was awful. This one cost £3 and you said it was the best. And rather than be embarrassed, sommeliers just went, no, that's the best in there by a distance. Fair play. Yes, Mandy. I am ticking a lot of diversity boxes for work. On account of the fact that I'm a black Muslim lesbian. No, hang on. No. No, I'm a middle-aged white man. No diversity boxes getting ticked from me, unfortunately. We already have quite a lot of people who've got proper disabilities, and there's trans people work there. There's huge LGBTQ community and all the other little. I keep forgetting what the other initials are that go with that. I think we are a very, very diverse working environment. Apart from in my office, there's not a huge amount of people of colour. There's a few more there now, but it seemed to be a lot of just local white folk, to be honest, which was strange, really. When you go to other offices and you think, this Liverpool's got a fairly wide culture in terms of different peoples. Wasn't really shown in the office, but it's getting slightly different. But yeah, very good place to work if you're a woman, especially. Lots of women in positions of higher management. Great if you've got a baby and you need to work term time and things like that. They are really good for stuff like that. A lot of it is rich people being pretentious. Sometimes I do wonder about. I don't really say things out loud at times because, especially what social media is like. But a lot of things I seem to think a lot of it's done for attention. I might be completely wrong, but there are some people. I mean, Sam Smith. No, I know. I was going to say there's a trans woman who works in our office, and the issues that she's had growing up, and then finding out that she was born in the wrong body, being born as a man, and thinking, no, I am a woman, and having to go through all the stages that she went through to become the person that she is today. That took a hell of a lot, and I think it must have been done for the right reasons. You look at Sam Smith and think, what on earth are you doing? Why are you acting the way you're acting? If you're gender fluid, bollocks, one or the other. You can be in the wrong body if you want, fine, no problem with that. You might feel a little bit different on one day to the next. But what they're doing, it just seems to be to sell records, and it's constantly getting the papers. No, I don't get it. I don't think they've ever struggled, really, not like other people have. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but no. It's Jeff's opinion, and he's sticking to it. That's the world we live in nowadays, isn't it? It's biology is not hard-edged. It's us humans who desire boxes. I get that, but it's even so. Yeah, Steve, do as you want. Just don't push it onto other people. It's the one thing I will say that I really dislike is pronouns. My pronouns are. Your pronouns can go and fuck themselves. Don't tell me what I'm supposed to call you. I haven't got my own pronouns because I don't talk about myself in the third person. Other people do that. And if they want to talk about me, how they talk about me, fair play, do it. I'm not telling you how you've got to talk about me. I'm not going to say you have to call me they or him or it or whatever. No, that's up to them to decide. Which I know is ironic saying it's up to them to decide, but there you go. I hate that. My pronouns are, talk about yourself in the third person, you decide what pronouns are. Apart from that, shut up. Despise it. The world's gone a little bit crazy lately. And it annoys me because there are people out there who've genuinely got issues and problems the way they've been growing up, and like I say, being born in the wrong body. It must be horrible. You don't need an entire subsection of people who are just taking your issues, your problems, and making it seem trivial just to get a little bit of clout on social media. I hate it. Millennials are awful for that. Always fighting someone else's wars for them. If someone's got a problem, let them fight it themselves. I'll stand behind them. But let them deal with it. You don't need to get upset on their behalf. Let them deal with it. And we'll try and make things better for as many people as possible. But yeah. Oh, all my systems are going a bit mad at the moment. I reckon it's Jeff. Jeff is causing issues. There's messages that are popping up on the screen that aren't popping up on the chat. So like transsexuality in your eyes is one form of intersexuality. It's just the brains that have a different sex than the rest of the body. Very interesting there. Again, it's not something I know a huge amount about. And it's something I find a bit difficult to even look into because people seem to be making it as difficult as possible. But yeah. Yeah, exactly, Barnsley. There are genuine cases, but some of it is obviously bullshit. I think so as well. It's just, for me, that's what it seems like. People are going out of the way to try and just cause a little bit of controversy, whether it's for attention or whether it's just, I don't know, they need something to fight against constantly, and what the latest thing to fight is this. I don't know. Yeah, Steve, the vegan and the vegetarian. That no doubt Isaac Butterfield will like that one. He seems to be waging a bit of a war over there in Australia, doesn't he, for anti-veganism, which a lot of it is done tongue in cheek. But he's not a fan of all that hardcore veganism. Again, if that's what people want to do with veganism and vegetarianism, fair play. It's going to be better for the environment, better for the planet on the whole, but don't need to try and force it onto people all the time. I've naturally cut down on the amount of meat that I eat, especially red meat. Although I still eat plenty of chicken, but again, it's down to me to decide. I shouldn't have some 20-year-old screaming in my face. You know, if I didn't listen to Morrissey about meat being murder, I'm not listening to you. So piss off. Yeah, that's it, man. You've got a whole generation growing up being told you can be wherever they want to be, and they are taking it very, very seriously. You can't, unfortunately. It just doesn't work that way. Because of, not just because of society, because of life. You can't just make things up and change things on the spot constantly. There has to be some kind of rules put in place. It's just, things seem to have gone a little bit weird. It'd be nice to have a little bit more of a, I don't want to say a reset, because that'll kick off on the tinfoil hat brigade, but people to just take a deep breath and chill for a little bit. I mean, the whole thing with the trans rights and women's rights at the moment, Twitter is an absolute bin fire when it comes to stuff like that. And it's weird. You're either with them or against them. There's no other way. And they've turned transsexuality ironically, into a completely binary issue, when it should be the most nuanced conversation on earth. It's been turned completely into, you're either with us or against us. And you cannot be for trans rights and for women's rights at the same time, because they both trample on each other too much. So there's got to be a conversation involved where both sides take a step back, relax, chill, and talk to each other constructively and try and come to some middle ground and make things better for everyone. Because as it is at the moment, it's not going to work. There's going to be more and more people calling each other out and being nasty, and I don't want any part of it. Genuinely don't want any part of it whatsoever, which is why I don't normally have an opinion about things on social media, because there's just too many people willing to jump on you. I know I'm doing it on here, but this is my channel, and to hell with it. And I've got every sympathy for people who are stuck in that situation. It must be horrible, but There's got to be more of a grown-up conversation about these things, and people have got to understand, like oil and water, it doesn't mix. You've got to take a step back and compromise a little bit somewhere along the line. The thing I had a week about, you can be in favour of women's rights and trans rights. You can't be in favour of both of them completely. Because if you're in favour of women's rights, where there shouldn't be a man with a penis in a dressing room, all it takes is for a fella to say, I identify as a woman, and the trans people say, right, he has got every right to be in that dressing room with a woman. There's a famous one about a female identifying prisoner. It's like 6'2" fella with a functioning penis who identified as a woman, was put into prison, in a female's prison, and then proceeded to sexually assault just as many women as he felt like, because he was bigger than all of them. That's not a woman. They should not be allowed in women's prisons. Someone with a functioning penis who finds women attractive should not be allowed in there. So that doesn't work. You can't be on both sides of that argument. You know what I mean? It's got to be at some point, no, we've got to make a stand. You can't go in that particular prison. We'll have to have a halfway house of transgender prisoners because the women are not safe, or it's going to have to be anything goes. And the same with sport as well. I don't think you can have trans boxers or trans rugby athletes, because fairly soon someone is going to die. It's going to take a woman to die before this gets brought up as being, it's wrong. You can't have someone who's born as a man in a ring boxing with women, which they're trying to do. It's not good. But it would be nice if if both sides just take a step back, compromised somewhere, or come to an agreement, and then the rest of us could all get behind them and go, right, we know where the boundaries are, we know where we are, and people can stop arguing about it on social media and stop making it into the last great argument, which apparently it is. There's nothing beyond this now. That's the only argument there is on social media. I absolutely hate it. Despise seeing what Twitter has become, considering how great it was. A platform for genuine exploration, seeing what the rest of the world was like. News as it happened. And it's just turned into a proper bin fire. You've never been bothered by men in your changing room. It's slightly, again, this is slightly different. There'll be a cultural difference as well. There didn't seem to be that much of a hang-up in the Netherlands when I was there about people seeing each other's bodies, which there is in other countries. What you feel over there and what people in Sweden will feel is different to what people in the UK will feel. So it's all, yeah, it's not by cis men, not by strangers in the bushes or trans women. Again, if you feel more comfortable in that situation, other people here wouldn't. So again, this is what forms part of that conversation. It can't just be a blanket, right, we're saying this is right, this is what's going to go. And you like it, you don't like it, but it doesn't matter. This is what we're going to say is going to go. So there's got to be a proper conversation about it, and middle ground has to be found. Again, I wouldn't want my daughter to ever go to prison, but I certainly wouldn't want to be in there when there's a fella who's just pretending to be a woman. Cisgender stuff, Steve. Cis is male men. Just people who are born as male and stayed as male. It's the whole thing at the moment. It's an argument that nobody's going to come out of with any kind of benefit. It's just going to get nastier and nastier. People are taking sides so vehemently, and I say, Blue Sky and X, some of the things that you see on there, it's horrific. It needs to stop. We're people at the end of the day, aren't we? It needs to stop, man. The planet's burning. People are arguing over what gender, what sex they are. The whole thing's just gone ridiculous. chill. We should all chill, man. Cis means on the side of. Alright, so cis is the opposite of trans. But I like the fact that, being labelled as cis by people who say they hate being labelled. Well, you've just labelled me. And again, there's another thing as well. I can't really, I don't know. Am I the example to use? I'm more laid back than a lot of people are. But when I had my car logbook sent to Miss Nicholas Ashcroft, remember that I said the picture? Did I get pissed off at that? I was slightly annoyed because it meant I was going to have to wait another 6 weeks to get a proper logbook with my name on it, to make sure I was completely legal in the car. But I didn't start getting pissy saying I might have been misgendered. For fuck's sake. That's the worst thing that can happen to you. Somebody accidentally misgenders you. Then you're having a good day. With my nephew, he's 22 and he's got long hair. If someone said to him, "Excuse me, miss," and he turned around and went, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you were a fella," he's not going to get pissed off at that. Misgendering. Unless you go round with a little badge on saying exactly what you are, then don't get pissed off if someone accidentally gets things wrong. Be more chill, man. Everyone needs to be more chill. Don't they? Be more Horace. Less Jeff, more Horace. The world needs more Horace and less Jeff. And less arguing. Took a strange turn, this one, hasn't it? Ah, well. I do apologise if anyone's found any of this offensive, but, it's nice that we have a conversation about things occasionally. Rather than just sit on your phone screaming and shouting at strangers on the internet. Have a grown-up conversation. Barnsley, your badge says I am 8. Well, I'm going to make myself now saying I am jealous. I want an I am 8 badge. Mandy, the new merch, yes, the new line of merch. I'm waiting for I got a hoodie with me podcast on. And I've got one for my daughter as well, so she can rep the podcast while she's out at uni. Yes, Be More Horace. That is definitely, if I ever do merch, Be More Horace is going to be one of them. Definitely. And yeah, how do we? There's no problem with discussion, is it? You don't always have to end up with agreeing with. Sorry, you don't have to end up agreeing with people. Don't even end up having to argue with people. It's how we learn. If you learn, talk things through, learn about stuff that you don't know about, or have discussions, and at the end of the day, agree to disagree or agree to change your mind, or whatever it is that you end up doing. But be polite and civil about it. Don't end up screaming and shouting at each other, or being horrible. There's enough horrible stuff in the world anyway. We don't need it, do we? We don't need this fascist groove thing. I've got a friend in America who loves... Yeah, that's right, Steve. It's not arguing, it's different opinions. And it's... again, it's the only way that you learn things is by talking to people and finding out other viewpoints, other aspects, other people's experiences. So I never mind doing that at all. As I say, I've got a friend in America who loves arguing. And it's done in a way that she learns from it all the time. Well, she says she does anyway. And because I'm dead laid back, I piss her off so much. She wants to get into an argument and debate something and see it through. I go, no, not happening at all. So yeah, and the more she gets annoyed, the more I do it, because I'm an annoying bastard at the best of times. But yeah, it does. It makes you think about your own convictions. You should always question your own convictions to make sure that you have them for the right reasons. And things can change. Your ideas can change. As you get older, you change naturally anyway. Plus, your world experience can change. Just the conversations that we have in the RDA the little community that we have, that we talk about things all the time, that is expanding everyone's world vision. So we're going to learn from each other. Our own experiences will be framed slightly different in context to people in the Netherlands, Denmark, the US is going to be different to mine in Liverpool, Steve's in Norfolk. Everything's going to be slightly different, and that's how you learn. You learn by having conversations. You don't learn by putting your fingers in your ears and going la 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 la. I'm not listening. And yet, Steve occasionally watch other people scream at each other on YouTube. It does work, because by the end of it, you walk away going, "Those are both idiotic people on both sides of the argument. I'm not listening to either of them." It's the way we should be. Just take in as much information as possible, and if you've got nothing decent to say about something, or don't get involved in an argument that serves no purpose. So for me, as I say, X and Blue Sky and all these social media platforms that I'm on, people start arguing about it all. Go on, argue about it. I'll wait until people start talking about Top of the Pops replays, or, does anyone want to have a go at Premier League referees for being incompetent? Yeah, jump straight in. Happy days. Welcome back, Mandy. We've just sorted out world peace. The Middle East has been fixed as well since you've been gone. I hope you'll be pleased to know. We're all sorted. As Pope said, we're all sorted out for ease and sis. Nobody's levelled up yet. Oh, punch this thing in a minute. Why has it gone off? I hate this. I'm going to have to sort that out tomorrow as well, aren't I? Start taking everything apart. And when I do, Mandy, I am not going to show you this. I was going to have a camera showing a behind the scenes kind of thing, but I've seen you mention wires before. You would despise this. There are wires absolutely everywhere. And they're not well concealed. They're not a tripping hazard because they're all around the back of the desk, but they are literally everywhere. Yep, footy chat, strictly footy. Jeff has escaped. Jeff worries me, he really does. Yep, it could be worse. We could have parked our car at Luton Airport. Maybe someone did, that's what happened. Maybe it was a hot hatch. We should level up at least once per stream. We should do. And just, as if by magic the shopkeeper appeared. It looked a pretty bad fire there at Luton Airport, didn't it? I mean, no fire's really good, and especially a fire at an airport, a place where you don't really want fires to be. Somewhere where you keep lots of aviation fuel and things like that. Another EV again, is it? Do you know what? EVs are the weirdest cars on earth. There's a good channel I watch, which other people might do on here as well. High Peak Autos. There's Matt, who's a car seller from Stockport in Manchester. He does a lot of cars that come in. He'll do a quick video with them to show you what they're like. Should you buy this car? Should you buy that? And he went on a little bit of a trip down south in an EV. I think it was an Audi e-tron. And he's not for them completely and not against them completely. But that thing, you can't just get in the car and drive 400 or 500 miles. You have to plan everything. And you have to go somewhere where there's going to be a charging point. But then when you get there, there's always someone else charging. And if your car's run out of petrol, you pull up at the station. If there's someone filling the car up, wait for 5 or 10 minutes and they're gone. Then you jump in, you do yours, and then you're gone. It's not the same with electronic vehicles. They are going to be fantastic if, like for me, I only really drive around the town. I go to pick my daughter up, take her to college, go to Tesco. If I'm going to work, I drive 7 miles to Formby. I would have an EV, an electronic vehicle would be perfect for me. But I'd still want my car. If I wanted to go somewhere, then I could fill it full of diesel and drive for hundreds and hundreds of miles and not worry about anything. So I think everyone's going to have an electronic vehicle at some point, just for doing the small shuttle runs, the school run, the supermarket run. but everyone will have to have a petrol or diesel car in the house as well. We haven't got the infrastructure at the moment for everyone to have electronic vehicles at all. And there's no way you could have people who live in flats. You've got like 400 people living in flats. You're going to have every one of them with a cable going out of the flat down to the car outside. It's a load of shite. Yeah, and if electronic batteries in electronic vehicles catch fire, they catch fire and they don't go out. It's well dodgy. The batteries don't perform well when it's cold. Your range goes down substantially. It's just, there's so many issues with them. Again, I think they're going to be brilliant because as long as you can charge them up at home, do your 20 or 30 miles during the day, you're fine. But if you need to go anywhere decent, get in a proper car. I'm sure that's the way that it's going to go. Everyone's going to have at least one of them in the house just for the short runs. And so we should. Maybe that's the way the government should look at it. Don't have everyone having 3 or 4 petrol cars in the same household. Just have everyone having at least one electric car that they can subsidise. And then everyone in the house just uses that one car for small, short journeys. Is that the future? Is that the way forward? I don't know. But obviously we can't continue with just petrol and diesel because oil is a finite substance. Eventually it will go. There won't be enough of it. Is hydrogen the next one? Is that the way? Should we be throwing more money at hydrogen or synthetic fuels? Are they the future? Apparently the synthetic fuels are every bit as good as normal sort of petrol cars, but it's still really expensive to make the petrol, synthetic petrol. The governments need to throw more money at that. Because obviously there's going to be loads of people with classic cars, with old ones. It's better from a green perspective, from a CO2 perspective, to keep any car going as long as possible. Green cars as well, electronic vehicles, you have to keep for a long time before they start offsetting the carbon that it takes to actually build them in the first place. Hydrogen's a pain to transport. Right, so, but again, if it's leaked, there's no big deal with it leaking. It's not a danger to anyone. And when you do put it in the car, the only thing that comes out the back of the car is water. So it's going to be healthier along the way. Solar cars, if you live somewhere where you could charge one, you lived somewhere near the desert, lived in Mexico, you could probably have a solar car. I've no doubt there will be people there who've got them. You couldn't have them here, could you? I mean, let's face it, you couldn't have it in Manchester, could you? Or Liverpool or bloody Ireland. A solar car. Summer was on a Wednesday this year. Yeah, but the cost-effective stuff, yeah. Like I say, there's still loads of things to work out. But they're trying to push electronic cars on us at the moment. And the batteries that you make electronic cars from are they cost a lot of CO2 to make. You're also drilling into the earth for rare minerals, which is really bad for the environment. And it takes, like I say, it takes something like having 10 years of having the same electronic car before it then starts offsetting the CO2 that is used to make it in the first place. It's better for the environment if you just go and buy a diesel car like I have. My car's from 2005. If I keep that going until it falls to pieces, it will produce less CO2 than a brand new electric car. So I think we need to do that. Keep these things going for as long as possible, and they will be less and less CO2 rated. But something's got to give. Something's definitely got to give. If we all go vegan, yeah, we can compress all the animals and make oil. Would rats make oil? No one likes rats. I mean, not like pet rats. I mean, just the vermin shite. Just get as many of them as possible. Mulch them up or something. I don't know. How does it work? Yeah, well, Steve, the infrastructure, right? The infrastructure in the UK is shit. And again, Matt was he was driving down to London. I think he was going to Hastings. So from Manchester, South Manchester to London to Hastings, you're in the middle, the spine of England, and the infrastructure was shit. Never mind the arse end of nowhere, like Norfolk, Devon, Cumbria, Northumberland, all the places that are just completely out of the way. There's going to be absolutely nowhere to charge anything. The borders, you might find there's probably 2 or 3 charging points on the borders between England and Scotland. Is there going to be anything going up to Inverness and beyond? There's nothing there at all. There'll be huge sections of the country where everyone who's got an electric car will break down. And then who comes and picks you up when you're broken down in your electric car? Big Dave in his diesel pickup truck, his low loader, and puts you on the back of it and drives you. Wales gone mad. We can't all go vegan. We should all try at least to reduce our consumption in everything that we do. As I said, I think there was something that said, if the whole world consumed at the rate that the US does, which is whether that be food or energy or everything, then we'd need 4 Earths to be able to keep that going. As it is, a lot of Africa offsets a lot of the US. A lot of South America offsets the US as well. It's ridiculous. China will be the same as well. They're just consuming at such a rate that is completely unhealthy. It's unsustainable. So we do need to change something. Who's going to keep a bull as a pet? There will be someone. There'll be some lunatic. There's always someone. There's always someone in the UK. Some absolute bellend who would have something like that. A pet bull. No one now. Look at me. Someone who's got the same fella who had the pet alligator last week, was it? Emotional support bull. Does that work? Can you get an emotional support bull? Thousands of cars. We do need to, we need to reduce the impact that we're having. I mean, obviously, a lot of the CO2 in the air is from cows. Cows make burgers, so there's no way on earth they're getting stopped, are they? When the likes of McDonald's are so rich and powerful and have the ear of the governments around the world, so it's never going to change. But if we all just reduce things slightly, I don't know, will it work? It should do. Something's got to give, man. One of which is me, I think. Start to feel very, very low on energy. That's what happens when you start ranting about stuff, isn't it? Right, there's a project there to breed back the ancient wild cows. Is that such a thing, a wild cow? Taurus. Are they anything like the Aberdeen Angus ones that we've got over here? The really pretty ones with the fringe. Fringe, not bangs, by the way. Fringe. Spanish, Portuguese and Italian fighting cows. What? Is that a real thing? Have you got Italian fighting cows? Or are you doing what Kirsty does and just doing that on your phone? The forefather of the domesticated cows. Aren't a huge amount of the cows that we have in the UK, the milking cows, don't they come from one particularly handsome bull from the Netherlands. I'm sure that was on that Coast episode that I watched. They were in Norfolk. Definitely. Dolphins may well be aliens. What I think would the nearest thing that we have to aliens, and you never know, it might be, would be octopus. Hugely intelligent, able to change colour, able to change shape, live miles under the water, out the way. They could be aliens, ready, getting themselves ready to take over the world, and we just don't know about it because we don't send people down there. Know what I mean? Dodgy. Never trust an octopus. Slithery bastards. You've got several nature parks full of wild cows. Crazy. Oryx in the Trossachs. It's making me feel hungry now, innit? Talk about saving the planet. Murder a burger. Oh, man. I need more Benny Hills for me flu, man. I need more Benny Hills and water. Desperate. Oryx. Right. Oh, no. There is a Mackie D's just round the corner from us, which is far too handy, too easy to get to. I might swerve that one, though. I think I've still got more greys, haven't I? Cocoa and orange, greys, stuff. Oh, and I've got Kinder Buenos. I might go and have a Kinder Bueno and open me coffee from Adam. I have to get a bit of help with that, though, because it's well taped shut and I am one-handed. Well, not completely one-handed. See, we're getting there, aren't we? I've been getting loads of the shakes in this, though, today, so I must be a little bit tired. I had my little sleep on the sofa earlier on when I got back from dropping my daughter off, though. That's helped. Can't do that when you're working. Can't have like a 3 hour, 4.5 hour, what it was on Monday, sleep on the sofa. It's definitely helping now. Mandy, no chance I'm going to drop it. Not a chance. I will make sure that it's on the kitchen table and someone else will open it for me. Because I ain't no idiot, man. Not me. I've waited for that to turn up, so I'm not going to waste it. And I'm looking forward to giving Adam a proper review of what it tastes like. The last stuff that I got from him was really nice, and that was just a straightforward coffee, not a special one like this. So I'm looking forward to having a nice cup of that. In fact, I might even have one tonight before me wine. How good's that? But yeah, I'm going to have to start calling it a night because I am starting to get a bit tired. It's been 2 hours again. Just these things fly by. I always start with absolutely no idea what I'm going to say, and I'm not going to get through 20 minutes of it, and then 2 hours later we're just chatting away. It's great. Another good night in the pub with my favourite people. So thank you very, very much. I'll try and set another up for Sunday, and hope that in the meantime Jeff isn't causing murder. Yes, Hadley, it is 2 hours already. Flies by, doesn't it? Absolutely flies by. That's, as I say, that's what happens when you have really nice people in the chat, and we have a decent conversation about anything that we want. Anything goes, and no one falls out. It's the best thing about it. If you don't make it on Sunday, don't worry about it. It's always nice that anyone can turn up whenever they can anyway. So don't worry about that in the slightest. Just always appreciate when people do turn up when they can. So it's I really do appreciate it more than I possibly say. So thank you very much, and I will see you as soon as possible. Ta-ra for a bit.